Dragon Ball Daima is actually GT 2.0. Let's talk about that and review Dragon Ball Daima Episode 5 in today's video. First off, let's talk about the thing that I saw and a lot of people saw in the episode. This is coming from SAIYAN Scholar Z. He says, "This still shot of the 4 characters in Dragon Ball Daima instantly reminded me of Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball GT art of the 4 characters. In Daima, they pass some giant beast bones and then stand next to a giant vegetation, which speaks for itself." So here is the original concept art from Toriyama that he did for GT. And then here it is in Dragon Ball Daima. So, first of all, like I said, this is from Toriyama himself. So, obviously, he could have just, whenever he was doing some of the artwork for Dragon Ball Daima, reused some of his old stuff. But then in the episode, we also saw GT Super Saiyan Goku referenced. This is coming from GT over Super. He says Goku turns into a Super Saiyan for the first time in the 5th episode of Dragon Ball Daima and Dragon Ball GT. Which is very interesting, so that's why I wanted to mention this at the top of the video. This isn't necessarily GT 2.0, but I do think if this is literally like the same episode, like episode 5 of GT and Daima, that they both appear as Super Saiyan, that tells me this was obviously a reference, right? And then you have this other reference from the Dragon Ball Daima opening of the Dragon Ball GT opening, so you can kind of see how they're kind of blending things together. I don't know if it's the opening, it's probably the ending. But yeah, basically, I just wanted to say it's actually GT kind of. It's not like GT 2.0 because, you know, GT has a whole lot of different things than Daima. But I do think there are elements being borrowed from Dragon Ball GT, which goes to what the Geekdom links were talking about whenever he mentioned that this actually is Toriyama's GT, but it's not like literally the plot taken, but there are elements from GT carrying over, references being made. So I do think there's an argument to be made that it's not necessarily GT 2.0, but there are certain things they're borrowing. With that being said, guys, let's get into the review. First off, we open up with Goku announcing he's a Saiyan. Panzy is like, "A Saiyan? Are you from the 3rd Demon Realm or the 2nd Demon Realm or whatever?" And, you know, they try to play it off, but basically, they never like said that there aren't Saiyans in the Demon Realm. Panzy just kind of accepts Glorio's excuse for there being Saiyans, but I don't think that means that there are Saiyans in the Demon Realm that you're going to see. I don't think Saiyans are originally from the Demon Realm, but that is a pretty cool popular theory. Now, this line here is one that a lot of people were pointing to and saying, well, Dragon Ball Super definitely isn't canon. And there is a lot of stuff in this series that does contradict Dragon Ball Super. But with that being said, this doesn't necessarily contradict Superhero. At the end of Super Broly. At the end of Dragon Ball Super Broly, Goku says his name is Goku, but also Kakarot. And in Dragon Ball Super Broly English dub, he says, "The name's Goku, but Broly, you can call me Kakarot." So that was an English dub change that I personally liked. But at the same time, it also kind of implies a different canon thing. Like in the English dub, he's basically announcing that he's accepting Kakarot as a Saiyan name or something maybe. But in the original Japanese version, he's just accepting, "Hey, Broly, my name's also Kakarot." And this goes back to the Namek Saga. So this isn't like Goku suddenly going, like, accepting his Saiyan heritage where he may have accepted it in Super Broly. Like, no, he accepted it way back in Dragon Ball Z. This is just him saying his other name is Kakarot. Now, this was interesting. Panzy says every Majin can use at least one magic spell. We saw Supreme Kai use several magic spells throughout the series, so that's very interesting that apparently every Majin has their own abilities. Maybe Glorio's is that he could fly because he had no idea what ki control was, but he was flying. And then Panzy attempts to levitate a rock, but does poorly. And then she says her specialty are machines. So maybe her ability, maybe it's like some sort of cognitive, like enhanced intelligence maybe. And maybe that's why she's able to barely lift rocks, but she can do really good with machinery. And then she says here, "I heard that most of the Glens left to the outside world a long time ago." This is interesting because it kind of implies, of course we know that they're all from the Demon Realm, but apparently the realm of the Kais is probably a realm that they established after leaving the Demon Realm, which makes sense. And Supreme Kai mentions that in the previous episodes that he left the Demon Realm in that spaceship to the land of the Kais. So I just like that they're like connecting things even further and making it like confirmed 100% like they probably all migrated all at once just like the Namekians did, which is pretty interesting. Another thing I wanted to mention, in this episode, they literally say that Deborah was pretty bad, but he was better than Gomah. Which is, of course, interesting. It kind of flies in the face of my theory that maybe Gomah isn't that bad. But apparently, he's pretty bad now. There was another theory in previous episodes. People were speculating that Deborah was actually a loved king because they had a big statue made of him. But then they also had a statue made of Gomah. And, you know, that should at least confirm to you that Deborah was a bad guy. So for those of you that were saying, oh, you know, it's pretty cool that Deborah is not actually that bad. No, he's bad. They built a statue of him because he probably forced them to. And then I had this screenshot saved for you here. This is basically the full version of the screen cap from the episode referencing the GT concept art. I'm pretty sure this is just a straight up reference to the GT concept art. Pretty cool. And this is where I'm thinking, okay, maybe Gomah isn't that bad. Because he's not like torturing baby Dende or anything. Again, Dende, what are you doing? You literally have the intelligence of an adult. Because as we know from episode 2, Goten and Trunks were able to think logically. So this is literally baby Dende, but he has the mind of an adult. And he's still sitting here listening to a kid's story. What are you doing, Dende? And, you know, she's just reading stories to him, which is interesting. So, Gomah, why do you have a woman reading Dende stories? And then he says he's an important Namekian who's eventually going to make new Dragon Balls for us. So, is he planning to get rid of Neva? If he is, could this imply even more inner working shenanigans of the Demon Realm? Like I said, I don't believe that Gomah is the final villain of the whole thing. Could it be Neva? Could there be like some sort of civil war between them? That would be pretty interesting. And I thought the king was really funny of the third Demon Realm. Now, if you have been paying attention to the speculation recently, people were speculating that he could have some connections to Dr. Mew because he looked kind of like him in that shadowy image of the trailer that we saw. But no, he looks completely different. But I do like his design. He is pretty entertaining. And we actually find out that he did not send Glorio. Glorio came to him and said that he could find someone to defeat Gomah. This, of course, goes into the idea that Glorio has more to him than we're letting on. And then, of course, the king offers Panzy to marry Goku, and Goku says, I'm already married and I've got kids. So I thought this was really funny. Like, I don't know, I just thought it was hilarious. And it kind of, like, basically confirms what we all knew, which was, what are you doing? Because this whole show is basically establishing, even though they're adults being turned into kids, they're still essentially adults. And it kind of flies in the face of what they were trying to establish in Dragon Ball Super with Mai. So, like, yeah, guys, you got to change that, like, as soon as you can, dude. So, this was a reference to one of the Dragon Ball manga chapter pages. And Goku says, it'll be fine, it'll be good training. So, Goku, again, looks really good here. And I really like that they're still like basically I kind of expected him to be a little bit weaker than he is now, but the fact that he's so strong is still entertaining. It's just like more of entertaining fun Goku. And the show has basically been anytime there's an action scene, he basically demolishes everybody. And then here's that really cool shot of the Super Saiyan form. Like I said, this show basically has glorious, beautiful, gorgeous animation all the way through. And this episode was no exception. Now, some people were speculating that this could be a new Super Saiyan form. I don't think it is. It's not like a half Saiyan form or anything. I just think this is probably him getting used to the Super Saiyan form and some of the aura stuck there. Though I guess there's an argument to be made that that in itself is a Super Saiyan form, like half Super Saiyan. I don't know. And then we actually got the introduction of the Hibis character. He's being commanded to go to the outside world and fetch the friends of our guests. So we've actually had him seen in like the endings and stuff. So of course I kind of figured they'd work Vegeta, Piccolo, and Bulma into the story. So this is how they're going to be worked into the story. This guy right here. And he was about to go to the beauty parlor for this little thing. This little tentacle, this little tuft of hair, something. Whatever it is. Now, this is another, guys, are we retconning Super moment? To a planet called Earth in Universe 7. Goku's just standing around, not even asking, what is Universe 7 or anything like that. So, I don't think it's a retcon that Supreme Kai knows what Universe 7 is. I think that kind of is like implied in Dragon Ball Super that he knows and he just doesn't mention it. But what I don't understand is Goku just sitting here listening to it. You could make an argument that he's so dumb he'll forget about it and then be surprised whenever Beerus mentions it later, but again, more speculation that Super may be a different continuity. And then Panzy joins the crew here. Pretty cool moment. A little bit of a fist bump there. And I do think it's neat that she's a princess of the third demon realm when she's joining them on their journey. And they actually say the third demon world is the biggest in the demon realm. So this tells me we're probably going to spend the longest in the third demon realm because they literally crash here. So it kind of basically tells you, get used to this place. We're going to be stuck here a while. Maybe they'll actually still be wandering the desert when Vegeta and Bulma and Piccolo get there. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, what did I think of the episode? Well, there are still people online complaining that the show is too slow. I don't know that I'm on that train that it's too slow. I think they're taking their time to establish the narrative and tell their story very slowly and take time with it. So I really do enjoy the pacing of the show. I think that Dragon Ball Super could have used more of this pacing, honestly. Anyways, guys, that'll be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you like, comment down below, and subscribe to keep up to date with all things Dragon Ball news and commentary. And I will see you in the next one. Peace off.